still creepy, the idea of building into a robot the behaviors alike to humans and animals. That is a creepy kind of idea to me. Um, yeah, I don't know what I think about that. Figured it might be interesting to end the week on just interesting science news. This is dated April 25th, so earlier this week, but certainly interesting from Science Daily how a horse whisperer can help engineers build better robots. Um, Original source of research comes from the University of Florida, but this is featured in Science Daily. In summary, new research shows us that age old interactions between people and their horses can teach us something about building robots designed to improve our lives. So, I have not read this all in full, so this is going to be something of a fresh reaction, but I figured it would be interesting to recap some of this week and finish up the week with something a little interesting. But first, a couple of housekeeping notes. Pardon, the cat just went running down the hall. A couple of housekeeping notes first. First thing being that I'm almost done with some analysis on the Heterodox Academy campus expression survey data, and so I hope to have that next week finished up finally. It's just wanting to double check some things and all the kinds of things there. So hopefully we'll talk about it next week. And on top of that, we just recorded a new episode of the Rogue Journal Club. Gina and I are back at it with that. Took a little bit of a break, but and I think you'll find it entertaining because it is a study on gas stoves, which have been in the news somewhat recently in the last really in the last couple of months, but you all I think will find it interesting. So that will appear hopefully here in early May on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, and all that first, and then here on YouTube. So if you haven't looked that up, you can look up the Rogue Journal Club podcast on those particular sources because it's going to appear there first. So break out the gas stoves with that one. But onward to the horse whisperers and the robots. Humans and horses have enjoyed a strong working relationship for nearly 10,000 years. A partnership that transformed how food was produced, people were transported, and even how wars were fought and won. Today, we look to horses for companionship, recreation, and as teammates in competitive activities like racing, dressage, and showing. Can these age-old interactions between people and their horses teach us something about building robots designed to improve our lives? Researchers with the University of Florida say yes. Quote, there is no fundamental guiding principle for how to build an effective working relationship between robots and humans, said. I don't know how to pronounce the first name. I'm going to say Ekta, and apologize if I butchered the name. It was not the intention. Ekta Jain, an associate professor of computer and information science and engineering at UF's Herbert Wertheim College of Engineering. Quote, as we work to improve how humans interact with autonomous vehicles and other forms of AI, it occurred to me that we've done this before with horses. This relationship has existed for millennia, but was never leveraged to provide insights for human-robot interaction. Well, I find that interesting because a robot doesn't have a brain with the exception of what is programmed for it. So I don't necessarily know that I see how the human relationship with a horse, which is a living creature, compared to a robot, which is not, has the same kind of thing, but we will see. In particular, a robot is programmed by a person. Interesting. Not sure. Again, somewhat fresh reaction. Jane, who did her doctoral work at the Robotics Institute at Carnegie Mellon University, conducted a year of fieldwork observing the special interactions among horses and humans at the UF Horse Teaching Unit in Gainesville, Florida. She will present her findings today at the ACM Conference on Human Factors and Computing Systems in Hamburg, Germany. Okay, so she's already presented on it, so. Like horses did thousands of years before, robots are entering our lives and workplaces as companions and teammates. They vacuum our floors, help educate and entertain our children, and studies are showing that social robots can be effective therapy tools to help improve mental and physical health. Increasingly, robots are found in factories and warehouses working collaboratively with human workers and sometimes even called cobots. Cobots. Sometimes I read stories like this and I'm just creeped out. And this is going to be one of those cases because yeah, human beings are social creatures. We do go seeking for companionship and often from other people. Um as well as from animals. I mean, horses, cats, dogs, occasionally you've got your emotional support animals, be that whatever they happen to be. Some of them to ridiculous degrees, at least in my opinion, but that's me. With that one, I don't necessarily think it's the healthiest thing to somehow have a relationship. There was a Scientific American story about this actually a couple of days ago too, where they were talking about people developing emotional relationships and attachments with robots, which there's something really creepy about that. I can't put my finger on it, but to me, there's something that's really, really creepy about that. As a member of the UF Transportation Institute, Jane was leading the human factor subgroup that examines how humans should interact with autonomous vehicles or AVs. Quote, for the first time, cars and trucks can observe nearby vehicles and keep an appropriate distance from them, as well as monitor the driver for signs of fatigue and attentiveness. Yes, but that's a computer programming code that another human put into it. That is not necessarily a sentient thing that thinks on its own. Or at least always not necessarily yet. There's some weird things about that. Like what are we gonna do if AI grows too much kind of thing? That was Elon Musk was talking about that a while back, but that's whole off into a totally different topic. Jane said, however, the horse has had these capabilities for a long time. I thought, why not learn from our partnership with horses for transportation to solve the problem of natural interaction between humans and autonomous vehicles? Interesting. So, is the autonomous vehicle the next horse? I don't know. Again, I'm somewhat creeped out. I am somewhat creeped out. Looking at our history with animals to help shape our future with robots is not a new concept, though most studies have been inspired by the relationship humans have with dogs. Jane and her colleagues at the College of Engineering and UF Equine Sciences are the first to bring together engineering and robotics researchers with horse experts and trainers to conduct on the ground field studies with the animals. The multidisciplinary collaboration involved expertise in engineering, animal sciences, and qualitative research methodologies, Jane explained. She reached out to Joel McQuaig, maybe? I don't quite know how to pronounce that. From UF's Equine Behavior and Management Program, who oversees the UF Horse Teaching Unit. He hadn't thought about this connection between horses and robots, but he provided Jane with a full access, and she spent months observing classes. She interviewed and observed horse experts, including thoroughbred trainers and devoted horse owners. Christina Gardner McCune, an associate professor in UF's Department of Computer and Information Science and Engineering, provided expertise in qualitative data analysis. Data collected through observations and thematic analyses resulted in findings that can be applied by human robot interaction researchers and robot designers. Let's see. Well, what are the findings? There we go. That's the next question. Some of the findings are concrete and easy to visualize, while others are more abstract, she says. For example, we learned that a horse speaks with its body. You can see its ears pointing to where something caught its attention. We can build in similar types of nonverbal expressions in our robots, like ears that point when there is a knock on the door or something visual in the car when there's a pedestrian on that side of the street. Don't we already do that? This is the thing. Wait, hold on. This is the thing. Isn't this to a degree with the self-driving cars already do that though? Yeah, because wait a minute, wait a minute. We've got the lane departure warnings, and the self-driving cars are supposed to be able to see pedestrians or other cars or things like that, so you don't hit them because that controls all. That's triggers all the sensors to if you're within a certain distance at a certain speed, you would then be stopping. But that's programmed in by a person. That's not. But then again, an AI is a model in a sense, and you got to train it with data. Hmm. So I mean, that's nothing really because that's a programming thing. That's not necessarily you're training a model at that point. You're training a computer model to recognize certain things and at certain speeds you need to go here and when this thing interrupts, your field of vision, slow down and stop or slam on the brakes as it were. Interesting. A more abstract and groundbreaking finding is the notion of respect. When a trainer first works with a horse, he looks for signs of respect from the horse for its human partner. We don't typically think about respect in the context of human robot interactions, Jane says. What ways can a robot show you that it respects you? Can we design behaviors similar to what the horse uses? Will that make the human more willing to work with the robot? Uh, this is again crossing into the vein of creepy. This is again crossing into the vein of creepy. A robot is a computer model. It's essentially a computer model. That's true of AI too. Very sophisticated so. Very sophisticated so. But in that sense, it is still a computer model. It can't show respect the way a human or an animal can. Unless it is programmed to in some way do that. Now you're talking about a computer that is you're talking about a computer program that is something of an emotionless thing. So again, this goes back to the weird and creepy thing, like a Scientific American article that I retweeted the other day, about having relationships with a computer or something along that line. It's very strange. It's very strange. AI is a very strange and interesting thing to watch, to be honest. Something I'm a bit out of my depth with, as you can probably tell. Jane, originally from New Delhi, says she grew up with robots the way people grew up around animals. Her father is an engineer who made educational and industrial robots, and her mother was a computer science teacher who ran her school's robotics club. Robots were the subject of many dinner table conversations, she says, so I was exposed to human-robot interactions early. However, during her year-long study of human-horse relationships, she learned how to ride a horse, and she says she hopes to one day own a horse. Good for you. That's awesome. Go for it. At first, I thought I could learn by observing and talking to people, she says. There's no substitute for doing, though. I had to feel for myself how the horse-human partnership works. From the first time I got on a horse, I fell in love with them. Well, that's awesome. Good on you. Still creepy. not the fact that the person wants a horse, but still creepy the idea of building into a robot the behaviors alike to humans and animals. That is a creepy kind of idea to me. Yeah, I don't know what I think about that. But I'm going to leave it there. Let me know if you're creeped out by the human robot horse thing here and what your thoughts are on AI. I'd be curious to know. And if you like this video, hit the like button on the way out the door, comment on the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, all that lovely good jazz. Until next time, I'm Adrian. May you stay curious, everybody.